10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
He's back out for a three. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the fourth time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
Thank you. Welcome to a Tuesday edition of Duck Insider. That means it's an Athletic Director Tuesday. We've got Deputy AD Eric Roedl with us in just a moment. If you missed it yesterday, the Ducks have two defensive players that are semifinalists for an impressive watch list. One for the Butkus and Noah Sewell, one for the Bednarik in Kayvon Thibodeau, with finalists coming out later in the month. And today, if you follow the Davey O'Brien Award on Twitter, the voting has begun, and Anthony Brown is up in the polls right now on the Davey O'Brien Award list to potentially be a semifinalist. And what a last two games Anthony Brown has put together for the Ducks, completing nearly 80% of his passes. That's not bad. I don't care if you're throwing against air. 80% completion rate is pretty darn good. Ducks and Dogs this week. 4:30 on ABC, 2:30 pregame show for us from Seattle across the Oregon Sports Network. We're also going to hear from Joe Moorhead today, some of his thoughts leading into this matchup. And Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer, after their really impressive come-from-behind win in 5 sets on Sunday. They're now 5-2 in 5 setters, Oregon Volleyball is. They're into the second half of Pac-12 play, and they're on the road to Stanford coming up on Thursday. We're going to talk with Matt Ulmer coming up. Without further ado, Eric Roedl's here. Deputy Athletic Director, how you doing?
Doing great, Joey.
Did I miss anything in the open?
No, you packed a lot in there.
Whew,
Nicely done.
You try to the really thing in play-by-play, right, is you have to be all about word efficiency. So I've made the joke before that you have to figure out a way to say things as quickly as like Dr. Seuss would write them, but you have to be as descriptive as J.R.R. Tolkien. I don't know if it's possible to accomplish that, but, word efficiency. We try our best.
Pretty good analogies there. I'm going to start using those with my kids.
Yeah, good.
No, you got it in, and I think I understood all of it. So
that's
great job.
That's the key, because just getting it in is one thing, but then having it actually be understandable is a whole nother ballgame. Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us. It's rivalry week, Eric. It's always fun when you get a matchup between the Ducks and the Dogs.
Absolutely. We're coming down the home stretch, and, I know Coach, if you had him on, he's going to talk about 1-0 and the process and all that, but there's always something a little extra that goes into a matchup with the Huskies, and really excited about the way our team's been playing, and I know Washington's put up some good results lately. It should be a great game.
Did you go 1-0 eating breakfast this morning?
Always.
Did you go 1-0 in your morning meetings?
I tried.
Attaboy.
You have to ask those I met with.
That's right. But that's all you can do, right? That's all you can do. You're an oatmeal guy in the morning, huh? Healthy.
Not always, but
okay.
Today.
Brown sugar?
Yes.
Raisins?
No.
Oh, just brown sugar?
Yeah.
Okay. I learned something new every day with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl.
Got to clean all that Halloween candy through this,
Boy, isn't that the truth. Shout out, by the way, to all the teachers who had to teach the day after Halloween after it was a Sunday. Trick-or-treating went well, I take it?
Absolutely. They brought home a lot of candy, and we'll probably eat very little of it, but there's a lot of candy in our house.
So what's your rule? I mean, do you have to check the candy in order for them to be able to get it back? I mean, because that means you get to pick out a few, right?
I do my share of cherry picking.
Any good costumes in the Roedl household?
Well, let's see. My older one, I don't really know how to describe it. It was a lot of dark clothing with some type of light up mask.
Okay.
Our middle one was Drew
Okay.
from Despicable Me.
Okay.
Pretty good, solid. And then the little one was a minion, and he
Makes
definitely looked and acted the part.
Oh, good.
So,
all right. I think that Ted Lasso might have been the most common costume that I saw this year. Well done, everybody, going with the sports angle. I think we can all get behind that. Of course, with it being football season, I feel like Halloween is always, that's really the signal for football. You're coming down the home stretch. It's also the signal that basketball is going to start. I want to talk with you about that in a little bit, Eric. But going back just to the crew that's made the experience at Autzen Stadium possible. I mean, just what can you say about how nice it is to so far have fans back and the way that the Autzen experience has really come back?
It's been tremendous, and anybody who was there, through last season, and you really, grow an appreciation for what we're missing when you don't have fans. I mean, that's what it's really all about, and obviously the great, athleticism and everything that's happening on the field, but having the students, having the fans, filling up Autzen, getting all that energy and juice going, it just completely changes the dynamic. The fans have been great. The students, since we started the fall term, have been awesome. They've been staying late into games, and can't say enough about all the work that our staff, that all the agencies that we work with on a weekly basis to put on those games have done. We had some, I think we talked about it last time I was on, some of the operational challenges with staffing, and that all continues. But I think we've been able to make sure that the fan experience is really up to that standard that we're all accustomed to. The food and beverage areas put in a ton of work to make sure that we're delivering strong service there. And overall, we're really excited with the way the fall's going and looking to finish strong.
Yeah, it's exciting to have some great kickoff times, too. I know that's always a hot-button topic, particularly with fans, and 7:30 kick against Washington State, but it's been a lot of really good kick times on the road and at home for Duck fans all year long.
Yeah, those trips home haven't been so bad. Coming back on a 12:30 kick is kind of nice. Even 4:30 with Washington will be great. Yeah, we've got the late one with Washington State, and I know that's a tough trip, but it's also going to be a tremendous atmosphere in Autzen for that late kickoff. And again, we're just thrilled to be playing and competing, and our student athletes love all the juice in Autzen.
Well, and it's great news when the Ducks are often the first pick in the weekly television time slot draft, right? Like, that's what you want. That means you're winning games.
And that's what drives it. And sometimes the first pick, depending on the network, is a 12:30 kick, or sometimes it's mid-afternoon, as it is this week, and it happens to be 7:30 ESPN with Washington State. So
ESPN, though.
Yeah, it's great visibility. We've been getting great national visibility, strong ratings throughout the year, and we hope to continue that.
We'll revisit football in a moment. Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl joining us. Every time you come on, I always have a fan that's like, hey, any new non-conference games to tell us about in the football scheduling realm? How far ahead are you looking these days, Eric? You about 20 years out yet?
Well, we're through 2030 for the most part. I think we've got a couple spots to fill in the 20s still, maybe a couple FCS games. And we've got Ohio State home and home in 2032 and 33. And, we'll see. Anybody who pays much attention to what's going on in college athletics these days knows that there's a lot of shifting parts right now and just a lot going on. And certainly you've got, the alliance, and we'll see what comes of that from a scheduling perspective. But we feel really good about where we are with our schedule. And, we've got some really good non-conference opponents set up, and our league's going to continue to develop and be strong. So, we're thrilled with where we are. But thankfully not grinding it out right now and trying to find any games in the next few years.
That's good.
Because that's not always easy.
Yeah, you've had to do that, and that is a
times,
tough thing, right?
You try to stay out in front of it, but you don't want to get too far out in front of it where you can't be nimble at all.
Mm-hmm. That's tough, man.
Yeah.
You have a tough job. God, that's it's like trying to figure out a way to play Tetris for like a 30-year period. And if you don't know what the next piece is going to be, it's kind of hard to play that game, right? It's hard to put the puzzle together.
Yeah.
Is that a fair analogy? I don't even know.
I don't know, Joey. It sounds pretty good.
Sounds good. See, I knew it. We'd get to the point where the analogies didn't make sense anymore. This is what happens to me at some point. One thing I did want to ask you about, Eric, is PK Park. So in addition to all of the other duties that we've talked about, you're the sports administrator for Oregon baseball. So with PK Park, we talked about it a little bit with Rob Mullins, a little bit with H.J. Cohn, and well, now you're here, so I get to talk to you about it. PK Park, what is the plan for some of the upgrades that you guys are eyeing for the next few years?
Yeah, well, PK Park's an awesome facility. We've had it now for about 13 years, and we have not done a whole lot with it in that time. So, our turf is old and tired, and it's in need of replacement. Some of the technology in the park, the scoreboard, the video board, are older. They're out of warranty. They're challenging to keep up with from a maintenance perspective, and the technologies have gotten so much better, as we've seen in Autzen with the new video board. And you kind of compare
cool.
You kind of compare now the east end zone to the west end zone, and that's like night and day. So yeah, we're really excited about what we're working on with PK Park, and we're going to really get into the ground here in the next couple weeks. The team is finishing up fall practice over the next few weeks, and we're going to simultaneously get going with a replacement of the turf, which will bring in the best technology that's out there. And there's been a lot of development in that end, from a baseball field perspective. A lot more schools have adopted artificial surfaces for baseball, and some of the companies that are out there have put a lot of time with research and development on what it's not just dropping a football field on a baseball field. So we're excited about that and what that'll offer to our student athletes. And then along with the new turf, we're going to reconfigure the outfield wall a little bit and try to make some tweaks with the outfield wall to make it a little bit more of an offensive ballpark, have a little bit more balance. With February and March and some of the temperatures and the damp weather, the ball tends to kind of die when you hit it up into the air and you get it out deep. Those left center to right center has been a pretty tough area. So we're going to make some adjustments there. And then the video board, we're going to bring in a new video board, and that'll really enhance student athlete and fan experience. And we're going to combine the scoreboard and the video board into one large structure, and really excited about it. We've got some good donor participation already. We're having a lot of conversations with people to explain what really is necessary to provide the best experience for our student athletes and our fans, and people are stepping up, and we've still got a lot of work to do, though.
Touching on the fans, I think it's very much a development of modern sports, is that one of your biggest competition is you want people to come to the ballpark because it's easier to watch on TV now than it ever has been before, right? You want to give the best experience for fans. Video board, all these things add into that, don't they?
Absolutely. You're competing with a number of things. I mean, a lot of kids and people are walking around with 2 televisions, on their person at all times, where you can watch a stream. So, everything that goes into the fan experience is really important. It's not even just the new technologies. It's a lot of the nuts and bolts, the fundamentals. Is it easy to park, ticketing process, the whole fan experience, the whole journey of being a customer. But to bring some new technology into PK Park, and then to make some adjustments that we feel like are going to, some really tweaks that are going to really help, make it a little bit more of exciting of a game, and just some nuanced things about the height of the walls, so you have more plays that could result in triples instead of balls bouncing over, those types of things. So I know Coach Waz has put a lot of thought into the design, and we're excited about it.
And that was part of his – I talked with Rob about this too. That was kind of part of Waz's vision, right? Like when he took the job, that this was part of it, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, he's got a certain brand and style of baseball that he wants to play. It's aggressive and offensive. Obviously, the fundamentals and the discipline of the game are always going to be really important. But we want a field and a park that's going to really play in the image of that vision for the program.
Just had alumni weekend, too. Did you get out and play in the golf tournament?
I couldn't because, in my middle age, I tore my calf last week.
Really?
I couldn't.
You look good, though. There's no boot. What's going on?
The boot is off.
Oh,
but,
shoot, Eric.
I'm embarrassed to say, Joey, I couldn't play.
Oh, man.
But I was out there a little for the alumni game. It was great to see, all that participation. And we had a lot of, old and new, a lot of our more recent alums back. And they always have fun. They have a lot more fun, it always seems, than our current student athletes in that game.
Funny.
The current student athletes are feeling the heat, and they've got to make the right decision every time.
Yep.
The guys on the other dugout, not so much.
No.
but it's always great to have them back and watch them have some fun.
In my experience, if the alums get one run, it's the greatest thing that ever happens, and then they tend to say, we're good.
Just a hit.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
KY almost took one out. I don't know if you were over there, but he got into one pretty good. And, again, it's always fun to have him back.
It's a good time. I got to get a quick time out. I want to come back, though, Eric, and talk with you a little bit about how you balance, kind of the day-to-day, but also thinking about this long-term stuff. I know that's something that you guys are always thinking bigger picture, and I imagine that's tough. I want to talk with you a little bit about that when we come back. A little bit of updates on men's basketball, men's and women's tennis as well. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy. No matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota. Let's go places.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear Exit Strategy. No matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota. Let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Back at Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, along with Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl here in the Country Financial Studio. We were talking about just, you're talking about like the day-to-day stuff. There's a lot of day-to-day stuff that you and other administrators deal with, coaches, and then there's always the long-term vision stuff. And if you don't think about the long-term vision, Eric, I'd imagine then, well, things don't work as well as you'd like. So how do you do that? I mean, what's your approach to, like, when talking about like the PK Park project, for example? You're thinking about the long-term, but you also can't focus completely on the long-term because there's a lot of day-to-day. How do you balance that in your position?
That's the word. It's balance. And, you've got to have a team that really has that ability to focus on what's in front of us and also see the big picture. And we spend a lot of time talking about both. When it comes to, the here and now and making sure that our student athletes are having a great experience, that, we're running first-class events, that we're providing our programs with the resources they need to be successful. There's so much that goes into all of those things to being great ambassadors of the university. And again, something that I feel like has been a real strength for Oregon is looking into the future and what's going to be next and beyond that. And what we've done and what we've been able to do with not only just our facilities over the last 20 years or so, but also with the infrastructure, the staff support, the early emphasis on nutrition, on mental health, on sport science, and really building out a strong sport performance team for our student athletes. A lot of vision has gone into all that, and a lot of universities and athletic programs around the country are doing great things, and you're always paying close attention to what's going on and trying to find, best in class at everything you do. And we want to be up there, and Oregon is a a program that does attract that kind of attention for some of the innovative things that we've been able to do. But it's a great question, particularly when it comes to resource allocation.
Sure.
You know, you're trying to find the resources to survive today and make sure that you're successful today. But then at the same time, you need to find ways to make sure you're investing in the future. So great question, and there's no easy answers to that. And Rob's probably the best person to ask in terms of how you balance all of those things.
And the answer may change year to year, right? I mean, who would have thought how that answer could have changed based on the COVID year, right? I mean,
well, I was just talking to somebody earlier today in the industry, and you know, what I said is it's amazing, like you're spending 30, 40, 50% of your time right now on things that you wouldn't have even contemplated like 3-4 years ago, whether it's, you know, some of the NIL strategy things and the platforms that we're putting in place for our student athletes, or, you know, what's happening around the country with the integration of the Alston ruling and then how that gets applied on your campus. You know, a lot of the litigation that's going on, you know, student athletes as employees. There's so much going on right now. The realignment that's been nonstop over the last few weeks. So it's just a never-ending list of big picture, you know, landscape shifting type of things. So, we do our best to stay on top of all that.
Well, I remember I asked you, God, maybe 2 months ago, just like what's college athletics going to look like in another 10 years, and it looks infinitely different here 18 months, you know, ago compared to now. And I guess you got to still kind of have that question in the back of your mind, don't you?
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll continue to shift. You know, for me, you know, the most important thing is that you're still able to – that athletics is still an important, arm of a university, and that you're providing opportunities to build leadership, to educate through college athletics on a broad-based level. You know, that you're able to have, 18, 20, 24 sports, that – the financial model and the way that things evolve will support that. And, I think right now there's a lot of things that are changing, but for me, it's not so much everything that goes on as part of running an athletic program. That's going to always continue to change. Maybe the way that things are aligned will change from, FBS, FCS, or how Division I's configured. There's always going to be change there, but the most important thing are that, there's still 400,000 opportunities for young people to go out and compete as student athletes.
I love it. Eric Roedl, Deputy Athletic Director, joining us. One of those long-term visions was the project that was recently completed at Matthew Knight Arena, adding offices for men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, adding to the practice facilities. And speaking of all those, basketball season is right upon us. We're a week away from the start of men's and women's basketball season, Eric. Going to be pretty exciting to have fans back at Matthew Knight Arena.
Yeah, doubleheader in a week. I mean, we're going to be getting ready for tip-off here in literally about a week.
That's right.
Got the early tip time for the men with Texas Southern, and got the women's game to follow.
We're going to find out how fast I can get from the Casanova Center to Matthew Knight Arena on that Tuesday. We're going to see if I can set my record. We had a 4 o'clock tip-off 2 years ago, and I was sitting in my seat on press row at the scorer's table at 2:11 in the afternoon. So we get off the air at 2 o'clock. I was sitting there at 2:11. I'm going to break my record.
Nice
on
work.
Tuesday.
Well, it's going to be a little different for you this year because you're not going to be sitting up on the concourse.
Yes.
Watching the game from up beyond.
I will be much more acquainted with doing my ab workout to lean around Coach Altman and an official at the same time. Eric, I'll tell you, sitting up, so we sat, at on the concourse level to call the games this past year, and I could actually see the whole floor way better. To be honest, but not being able to hear what the coaches were saying on the bench, I missed that. It was one of those weird things that I never knew how much you gain from sitting right there near the coaches when they're just coaching and doing their thing. So I'm looking forward to it, man. It's gonna be a fun season. I will go on record to say that I think that Oregon may have the best 1-2 combo of a men's program and a women's program heading into this year, because the men have a top 20 player according to the preseason watch list and the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. The men have a top 20 player at 3 positions. The women have a top 20 player at 3 positions. There cannot be a lot of programs in the country that can say that.
Yeah, that's a good analysis. I know both sides are really talented, experienced, and we're excited to see them get out on the floor and start competing. and they've both got great schedules. I mean,
Yes.
the men are playing in the Maui Vegas Invitational.
Yeah, that's right.
And bringing in SMU early, and certainly bringing in the defending national champions early, and the women bringing in UConn, and it's just going to be an awesome year.
Yeah, that's all at Matthew Knight Arena. It starts next week. More basketball preview coming up this week. Got to ask you a little bit about the men's and women's tennis programs. They're one of those odd sports where the championship's in the spring, but that's really a full academic calendar in terms of when they're competing, right? So men's and women's tennis, check in on them for us.
Yeah, they've been at it all fall, and the men hosted ITA regionals here. They went up and competed in the super regionals in Seattle, and then the women, they've played some tournaments as well, and have competed really well, especially some of our young talent that we brought in, and our student athletes have really been challenged so far this fall. And we had 2 doubles teams do really well at the ITA All-Americans out in Tulsa, and I know that Nils and Courtney are both excited about what's to come in January when we start the true season, as you mentioned. They're playing tournaments and more individual competition now, and then you kind of get into the real fun part of the year, which is the dual season in January.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Also, Nils Schielander finished his kitchen remodel. He was pretty darn excited about that too. So, Nils, shout out to you, man. That was good work.
I'm sure he's thrilled. Yeah.
I mean, hey, I went through that. I did my own kitchen remodel, and it was man, there was a lot of pizza getting consumed.
Well, that means that Becky's happy, and then Nils is happy, and all's good.
That's right. Eric Roedl, Deputy Athletic Director. Hey, thanks for being here. If I don't see you, I'll see you on the plane, all right? We'll head up to Seattle. It's going to be a fun trip.
Let's go get them.
All right. When we come back, we're going to hear from Joe Moorhead, Oregon offensive coordinator, some of his thoughts on the matchup with the Ducks and the Dogs coming up at 4:30 on Saturday. Deputy AD Eric Roedl, thanks again for the time, buddy.
Thanks, Joey.
Get a timeout. Come back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, well, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffro. He was riding old Betsy the Stallion, tip-tapping away at his telegraph, when blam, ran right into the side of the saloon.
Well, if Jeffro can't do it, neither should you. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. My thanks to Deputy Athletic Director Eric Roedl for joining us. Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, will be joining us coming up in just a moment. First, though, zeroing in on football, offensive coordinator Joe Moorhead. A lot of good stuff from him this week as he previews that 4:30 kickoff between the Ducks and the Dogs. Here's Joe Moorhead.
Yeah, Coach, do you think there's some advantage now being upstairs, and does that outweigh maybe the positives of being down on the field? Or how do you evaluate that experience for you in the last 2 games?
Kind of like riding a bike. I think there's probably advantages to both. up top, you get to see it a little bit more. Environment is sterile, takes the emotion out of it. Down on the field, you get eye-to-eye contact with the players. You're able to motivate them. There are certainly things that you can see on the field that you can't see up in the booth. So I think it's been good, and keeps me from getting run over on the sideline too. So that's another bonus advantage.
Were you able to talk with Ty Thompson after his interception and how to work on those kind of mistakes? And how important was it for you to take advantage of that big lead and give him those snaps?
Yeah, not just for Ty, but for a lot of the young guys to get in there and garner some invaluable game experience. I think you saw a lot of production from Byron and Seven, and seeing Troy catch a touchdown and the young tight ends. But he made a good throw on the one short route. Underthrew Dante a little bit on the deep one, and then just needed to keep going through his progression on the one that he threw the interception. Either throw it ahead of the guy or keep going through his progression. So, first game experience against a 1A opponent and a conference opponent. So something he'll learn from and from which he'll improve.
Joe, about a month ago, you said the goal was about a 65% completion percentage, and Anthony last 4 weeks has gotten better and better each game. And last week or against Colorado, it was 80%. Just where do you feel like that improvement has come to see such a big increase week after week and culminating in a performance like Saturday?
Yeah, even though AB's played a lot of football, has a lot of experience at this level, has played in a lot of games, it is still technically his first full year as a starter in this offensive system. And, certainly there's a lot of moving parts around him and, 3 successful components of the pass game, the protection, the route and the throw. And I think as the season has progressed, he's grown more and more comfortable with all those things, including the offense. And, we're seeing, nice, steady improvement. So hopefully that continues, moving forward through these last 4 regular season games.
Coach, just your assessments of the offense as a whole there, especially the first string. Every time they were on the field, Anthony led them to points, whether it be touchdowns or field goals. Just, I know you mentioned, I think 7 or 8 things you try to check off each game. I assume most of those you accomplished on Saturday.
Yeah, our goals that we review on Sunday, didn't win the turnover battle, which were 50% of that, and then we didn't win the fourth quarter. Those are the 2 things that we didn't accomplish. But I feel we put a solid game plan together. The kids did an excellent job during the week in the preparation phase, making sure that they were earning the right to take the field with confidence, and talk to them every week about playing with fanatical effort and surgical precision. And I thought we came out in the run game and the pass game, the protection, all those things clicked and came together, and we were able to move the ball and put points on the board.
I guess I'll ask another one. Coach, just TJ Bass's strides and kind of him at left tackle, how that's been maybe a good fit after he's playing guard the last couple of weeks and actually last season as well.
Yeah, I think he's a natural fit at tackle just because of his athleticism, particularly against the type of pass rushers we see in this conference. And I think George is a good fit inside, big, strong, physical guy, matched up against the, 3 techniques and shades. And, I think we've talked about before the excellent job that Coach Mirabal does throughout the course of the week, cross-training the guys. So during practice, it's not always the same 5 out there. They're not always in the same position. So when something happens like Alex Forsythe going down in pregame, Ryan Walk slides over to center, and, it's not completely foreign to him. So, TJ's done a real nice job. George has done a nice job, moving inside, and certainly Ryan and the other guys, filling in. It's been a nice, nice job by those guys, throughout the past few games.
Coach, Byron came out on the first drive and had 3 big carries. I guess those were unscripted plays. What are some things that he's been doing to earn that raw responsibility in practice?
Yeah, I think, it all comes back to, talent and preparation and practice. And Coach Mastro has a very keen eye for what the guys do well in the correct situations to put them in the game relative to the plays that we call. And, Byron got his opportunity. It was planned for him to go in on that drive, and, Lyon did a real nice job blocking, and we were able to, create some numbers and some angles in the run game. And, he took care of the rest.
Coach, we've seen what he's done on the field, but I'm curious if you've seen a change in the demeanor of Anthony over the past few weeks that he's now had continued success in the offense.
Have I seen a change in his demeanor? Is that what you said?
Correct.
To be honest, that's one of the things I like best about Anthony, that you don't see much of a change in his demeanor. And sometimes we talk about it being a little too even keeled, that, you don't want him to be a quarterback position to be out of control with his emotions, but you don't want him to be void of emotion either. So I think the one aspect that I've seen from Anthony is he doesn't lack confidence, but you can see it growing because of his performance. And I think you could ask his teammates that guys look to him for leadership. So I think the biggest thing from an emotional standpoint that we've seen the past 3 weeks is, continuing to build his confidence. And I think he's exhibited good leadership in important moments in big games.
Joe Mario was just saying how Travis is as valuable to you guys as any player is to their team in the country. Over the month of October, especially when CJ goes down, he averaged, by way of yards from scrimmage, over 21 touches and over 136 yards and 2 touchdowns a game. Those are very Saquon-like numbers, and he is obviously not at all built like Saquon. Can you speak to, is he even exceeding any realm of expectation for a guy who's built the way he is, and how much it impresses you that a guy who's built the way he is doing what he's doing for you?
Yeah, and I think he did a lot of these things last year, running the ball between the tackles, getting them on the perimeter, and doing things in the pass game. But he's an incredible leader, a great competitor. I mean, those are the two. I mean, the guy loves football, and he loves to be put in those kind of situations. But I think the reason we're able to do, some of the things with Travis that we did with Saquon, even though the physical stature is different, is because of the versatility. The ability to run between the tackles, make people miss when we get them on the edge on sweeps or on screens, and then splitting them out wide and trying to get them matched up on linebackers and safeties, and he can get open and he has great hands. So when your tailback is not just a guy that you line up in the backfield and hand the ball off, that he could do a bunch of different things, really forces the defense to defend every blade of grass on the field.
Hey, Joe, I'm just curious, with Johnny Johnson out for the first half against Washington, if that kind of opens the door for Troy or maybe some of those younger guys to get a few more reps in there, or how do you guys kind of plan to go about not having him for those first 2 quarters?
Yeah, that's unfortunate, because Johnny is a true leader on the team, and the guys look to him for their cues, both vocally and by example. But Johnny is a guy that we cross train and does play both the X and the Z position, and can play the slot. So we're going to have to make up for those reps between Chris playing Z, Dante Thornton stepping up, Mike has played some Z, and with Troy at the X behind Devin. So those young guys, coach has a next man up philosophy that if someone goes down, the person who replaces them is going to do as good or better of a job. And I think our kids believe in that as part of our culture. So unfortunate for Johnny, we're excited to get him back for the second half, but I'm confident that those young guys will step in and do an admirable job.
Yeah, some of those young wide receivers, we're going to see a lot of them in that first half with Johnny Johnson out. Joe Moorhead, Oregon offensive coordinator, meeting with the media. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. Matt Ulmer, Oregon volleyball head coach, is here with us. Coach?
How do you do this without a teleprompter? I was just thinking about, you just spit off that whole thing, and I'm trying to figure out where you're reading it from.
Yeah, I'm not a teleprompter guy.
That's amazing.
I have an outline.
I know you have some
here,
notes,
but it's
that's
my
nothing.
bullet points.
Yeah.
I'm a big bullet point guy. I feel like this is maybe why I'm more like radio than I am TV, because when I feel like when I'm reading off of a prompter, people can tell I'm reading. I like just kind of the free flow.
Oh, I thought it was the hair.
It could be the hair.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm certainly not good enough looking to be on TV. We know that. That's the truth.
Throw the flag. Is there something?
Oh, I thought I had the flag. Shoot.
I'll throw
Scott
it back.
has it. Not everybody's got the look,
Oh.
For me, it's you just got to have the voice, which I don't really
You
have
have a
that
great
either.
voice.
Oh, thank you.
You do. You don't think you have a good voice?
You should hear Mark Johnson, the voice of Colorado. I'm telling you, Matt.
I'm going to Google.
This guy makes me sound like this.
Oh, he's down here.
It is like movie trailer booming voice guy. That's Mark Johnson, our colleague from Colorado.
Are you jealous?
Do you still have the interview? You should just play one little clip for Matt. He's going to find it for you. Okay,
But does he use a teleprompter?
Probably not, no.
Oh.
Mark's very good.
Okay.
Very good. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that and talk about booming voices and 5-set wins. Ducks are 5-2 now in 5-setters, so just go 5 all the time if you win them, right?
You have a great voice. I like it.
Matt Ulmer's here, Oregon Volleyball head coach. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long.
Nope, sorry, Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Is that a faucet running?
That's not a faucet. That's a river rushing through the forest. Forest rivers provide over 100 million people with clean water to drink.
What? I can't hear you because of the vacuum.
That's not a vacuum. That's the trees in the forest cleaning up the air we breathe.
I didn't know the trees were so amazing.
Yep, and the forest gives us shade, trees to climb.
That's awesome. Let's go explore some more.
Visit the forest today and enjoy all it does, just for you. To learn more about the forest and find one near you, go to discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer joining us. And I'm going to not make this mistake again. Coach Ulmer is here. I said Matt one time before, and you were like, no, Coach Ulmer, please.
Yeah, I apologize
please.
for that. That was a little short of me. I'm sorry.
Well, no, I actually thought that it was pretty funny.
Oh, okay. Well, then, thanks.
Yeah, I mean, that's like
good correction then.
Well, no, I feel like being a coach, like once you're a head coach, like aren't you always a coach? Like I never refer to somebody who's a retired coach like without saying coach, right? Like you're kind of once a coach, always a coach.
You can call me Matt.
I'll
give you permission.
But aren't you once a coach, always a coach? I mean, like you never really go away from that.
I think that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you always are.
That's how your brain works.
Like people, like anybody that played for you will always call you coach, right? Like that's just kind of natural.
They'll call me a lot of things.
Well.
Yeah.
Okay, publicly they'll always call you coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
We were talking about having a great voice. I don't know if Scott was able to find the interview or not, but this is what I'm talking about. Mark Johnson, I mean, he sets the standard for our colleagues in the Pac-12. I mean, this voice.
I live, just so your folks can understand, your listeners can understand, I live west of Denver, up in the mountains. I've got a little ranch up there.
Is this live?
And then Boulder, of course, is kind of on the northwest corner of the metro area. So I've got a bit of a drive, and so I was halfway there. I didn't leave the house as quick as I thought.
Wow. So I just got to tell everybody, that was on an iPhone doing a Zoom. So that's like not one of these microphones, and his voice still infinitely sounds better than
Can I tell you something random?
Okay.
You ever seen those apps where they can age you?
Yes.
Okay. I look just like him.
Really?
Yes. I'll find it. I'll send it to you, and I want you to compare.
I want to see it.
I want you to compare what I look like to him.
You know,
and I think you're going to think maybe we're brothers.
You know who actually has.
But my voice will not. That's a nice voice.
Right.
Wow. I get it now.
Dude.
So what can you do? Like, we practice to get better. What can you practice on to get more like that?
Well, one thing, to be honest with you, actually, there are things that you can do to change your voice based on your head tilt.
Okay.
Exactly. You just dipped your chin. So what a lot of young broadcasters will ask me that, like, well, how can you sound more excited without kind of doing like the high pitch? Well, one thing you can do is you can actually physically dip your chin.
To sound more excited?
Because you sound deeper, so it's a different inflection in your voice.
Okay.
So there are certain things like that you can do. It's no different than like a lot of people that are actors or singers, they'll have different like vocal things you can do.
Yeah.
There are ways that you can do that, but ultimately it's just some substances that you can probably get into if you really want to.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah. Voice Insider here with Joey Mack and
well,
Matt
that's
Ulmer.
he's got a lovely voice.
No doubt.
He is
about
no
that.
Joey Mack, but it's
Thank
a
you.
nice voice.
Yeah, he's better.
No.
Yes. Mark, I've told Mark this. He hears that a lot.
You
I'm
tell
sure.
him?
Oh, absolutely. I've told Mark before. In fact, when we did the interview with Mark, I think I said
you
something
imagine?
along the lines of just like, Mark, I gotta never do an interview with you again because your voice just makes me sound like I'm 10 years old.
Wow.
It's true. It is like Morgan Freeman. I mean, if Morgan Freeman...
Can you imagine any of our coaches going up to a rival school and being like, you're just way better than me?
Well, Joey did that voiceover.
Way
with,
better.
With,
You're a much better coach than I am.
Yeah. You didn't like that.
What?
The voiceover that you did with Morgan Freeman. And it was like you and
Oh, yeah.
Freeman.
Have you seen this?
I don't think so.
Pull that up if you can find it, Scott. So we did a, it was actually awesome. We did a feature about the history of the duck on the motorcycle and the entrance at Autzen Stadium.
Okay.
And it was actually sponsored by the History Channel.
Okay.
Well, the guy who they got to do the voiceover was Morgan Freeman.
No way.
So my voice was up against Morgan Freeman's, and I was like, why did I do this? This was a mistake. I should never be in the same video as Morgan Freeman ever.
See, I was thinking the exact opposite.
No, his voice, Matt. You talk about great voices.
No, it is. It really is. Yeah.
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 If any voice could narrate your life, you'd want it to be Morgan Freeman, right?
Wasn't in Bruce Almighty? Wasn't he God? Like he was the voice of
exactly.
God. I feel like that was well casted.
We've talked a lot of volleyball so far. Oregon volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer joining us.
But yeah, I want to see that if you can find that. That's fine.
He's got it. All right, so go ahead, play it.
Oh, do you have it right now?
Marcus Mariota was the first Oregon player to win the Heisman Trophy. His junior season was spectacular. 6% of ballots. Mariota bypassed his senior season to make himself available to the 2015 NFL Draft, where he was drafted as the second overall pick by the Tennessee Titans.
Curiosity moves the world.
I'm dying right now.
Why do we call it a boom mic?
I mean, he's just so I gotta tell you. I mean, Matt, like there are things like in post-production.
Did you put that on your resume?
No,
you
never
should.
will. There are things that you can do in post-production, like to make your voice just sound a little more full. So when I do stuff like that, a lot of times I do that because it actually makes your voice sound more clear, so people can understand what you're saying better. That was just Morgan Freeman just standing there.
Wow.
I mean, right? That's what I'm saying.
Dang. That was great.
Meanwhile, Oregon volleyball.
I feel like I learned a lot today.
Did you?
Is that the point of the show?
It is Duck Insider. You're supposed
That's
to get
true.
some inside knowledge on things.
I feel like I did.
I guess this is part of it. You want to talk about your squad?
Yeah.
You're 5-2 and 5 setters now. So let me preface this. So we gave you the full recap yesterday on the show, I should say, last night. Rough one against Utah, but then you guys were able to bounce back. Colorado match. I mean, you said afterwards you were much more aggressive against Colorado. Walk us through the weekend and how your team was able to bounce back the way that they did.
Yeah. I mean, I think we were a lot more aggressive against Colorado. I think Utah's a very good team. Danny Drews put on a show. She's one of the best players in the country, and I think she showed that. We had a hard time, with their serving. I thought they were very aggressive, and we just tried to tip our way out of things. And we had a chance in the third set to push it. And again, we'll see. Similar to USC last weekend, if we could have won that third set, maybe we can keep gaining momentum and see what we could do. And we weren't able to pull it off. And and then I think Saturday was a tough practice as far as I think we need to demand more of ourselves. If we have high standards, we need to push them. And right now we have some adversity, and I'd like to see us, instead of backing down from adversity, moving forward, and seeing if maybe we can pull some things out of ourselves that we have in the tank that we could use. And I think right now we have a bit of an identity crisis with Taylor Borup being out, and so other people are gonna have to step up. Taylor Williams has to step up and make plays. Becca Morse is in there more. David McClellan's been in there more. So we need those people to step up now. And if we're trying to be at this level, then they have to, help take us to that level. And, I think that's where I'm at right now, and it's day to day.
You're still number 18 in the country, right? And that's
that's true.
That's one thing that I mentioned on the show yesterday. Like, you guys have a tough match, and it's like, man, you're kicking yourselves, like, we got to play better, but you're still number 18 in the country, still a lot in front of you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like in your experience as a coach, when you have younger players that are having to step up in moments like this. You touched on you have to push through adversity.
Yeah.
Now that they've done that a little bit, they've seen the result, they've got the win. Do you hope it's easier to be able to push through adversity because now they've found success pushing through adversity at least once?
I think once you've done something, you can realize that I can do it again. But I think just our program, we're just trying to raise the level. The standard is changing. We've never been, I think, back, to Sweet 16s back-to-back years in our program, and I think that's something we should be trying to do every year, and being one of those programs that can do that. And so in order for that to happen, you need everybody. You need everybody to want to push in that direction. And I think right now we have some, and we have some that are not sure. And that's where we've got to now, get it together and set our sights, in different places. And we're in the month of November, so we have 4 weeks left before playoffs. And we really need to get a lot better in 4 weeks. And if we're willing to do that, then we'll be just fine. If we're not, then we'll get what we deserve.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, joining us. Kiari Roby off the bench, 8 kills, 4 blocks. I imagine one of the ones you'd like to see continue to get better over the course of
That was
month.
great. Kiari's, I think she's getting better every day. Love her energy. Abby Hansen's really good too. Carson, all 3 of them have done a great job. So again, it's just more of who's maybe the right matchup against the team we're playing, because I think they have different strengths and weaknesses. But Kiari is kind of instant offense here with the UCLA match, and then the match against Colorado, and it's great to see, and just really happy for her, and hope that she just continues with that.
What do you need out of a player like Morgan Lewis, who had 13 kills against Colorado?
We need her to score in the crunch time, and she did that. Different defenses have tried to do different schemes against her, and I think it's worked so far. And she's really had to embrace the idea of making some different tactical choices on offense. And I thought against Colorado that was the first time she did it consistently.
Yeah.
And, Kylie set her great ball after great ball, and she put him away, and we needed that to happen. It can't just be Nuneviller, scoring in the clutch. It can't be. And Taylor Borup was one of the ones who would always find the big point for us, and she's not out there. So who's going to step up right now when we need a point and, get the job done? And Morgan did that, and that was really important.
Building on that, you got Stanford coming up, 7 o'clock on Thursday. It's the Bay Area road trip for the Ducks. Just general question, what's it going to take to be successful? What do you need from your squad? You've touched on a lot of it. Put it into a statement for us.
Yeah, I really do think it's our personality. I think when we are a very aggressive team, when we have high demands, when we are, we're serving tough, might mean we miss some, but we're serving tough, and we're really trying to attack with our offense. And, when we do that, I think, we have a chance to be really good. And that's what we did against Stanford. I think they blocked us like 20 times last time we played, and we won. And again, I think that just shows you that we were just playing a really aggressive style of volleyball, and we were trying to keep things in our own hands. And that's who I think we need to be as far as the serving and offensive team goes. And, I would like to see us just continue on that.
So when you're clicking, how are we going to know watching? What's the sign of aggressiveness for your team? What's the sign of the personality that you want to see?
Yeah, I think, not a lot of tipping. I think we get kind of tip happy, and I thought we did that against Utah. And Utah was just bombing away. They hit the ball as hard as anybody has against us since I've been here. They were just cranking the ball. And you can't go back in kind and say, here you go, here's a free ball, do it again.
Right.
Come hit me again. So I think, just seeing our aggressiveness when it comes to our attack, and again, serving, we have to be okay with missing some, but they need to be aggressive misses. We missed against Colorado. We had 13 missed serves against Colorado. But because of that, their setter was off the net. She wasn't able to attack the ball like she wants to. They couldn't set their middle as much as they wanted to. They became more predictable in their offense. And so there's some trade-off there that you're going to have to take. And especially for us right now, I think we need that trade-off. And so, probably those 2 areas are where you're going to see.
7 o'clock Thursday, Ducks at Stanford. It's going to be on the Pac-12 network as the Ducks hit the road now. Safe travels, my friend.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for being here.
Nice voice.
Great hair.
Thanks. You're not wrong.
Matt Ulmer, the Oregon Volleyball head coach. I never know what we're going to get on a Tuesday. All I know is that we're going to come back after this on the Oregon Sports Network.
I need to meet Mark Johnson. That's what I need.
What's with Mountain Dew? Mountain Dew is like a zip line of incredible flavor directly into your brain. Mountain Dew is like getting punched in the mouth with pure neon refreshment that creates a neural explosion, sending flavor shards of electric brain pulses into your very core of being. Okay, maybe that's a little over the top, but you get the idea. The fact is, the mind-bending challenge of describing the taste of Mountain Dew is way harder than just experiencing it. That, of course, is easy. Just grab an ice-cold Dew, crack it open, and toss them back. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You're not too cool for me. And in return, I reciprocate that sentiment. I'll never be too cool for you. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. Please let it be noted that I told my job they can dock my pay. Right now, it's just too important to take you to school every day. I want to be legendary for you. I want you to puff out your chest when you go to school, the same way I do. I walk taller because of you, because I found everything to live for.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Right now, our country feels divided, but there's a place where people are coming together.
I was nervous to talk to someone so different than me.
Me too. Love Has No Labels and One Small Step are helping people with different political views, beliefs, and experiences connect through conversation, and it feels good.
This conversation gives me hope.
It gives me a lot of hope, too. Take a step toward bringing our country and your community together. Start a conversation at lovehasnolabels.com/onesmallstep. A message from StoryCorps, Love Has No Labels, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. The women's sports schedule for this week is intense. Oregon softball has added a game against Southern Oregon, a 10-inning affair beginning at 4:30 on Wednesday. That's tomorrow. It's going to be on the Oregon live stream with our buddies from KWVA on the call. And then Oregon volleyball against Stanford, 7 o'clock on Thursday, and a huge one for Oregon soccer on the road in Corvallis, 7 o'clock on Friday. It is a big, big week for the Ducks and a lot of different sports, particularly because Oregon men's tennis and Oregon women's tennis are also scheduled to be in action this weekend. You heard from Eric Roedl earlier today. Also, I'm just going to keep mentioning this because daylight savings time comes to an end technically on Sunday. I have strong opinions on this. We don't need to get into this right now. I don't know why we reset the clocks. There are some states that don't do it. I wish we were one of them. It's just another thing for me to remember, and I got to change all the clocks in the studio. We got to change clocks at home, and I know on your phone it just updates for you automatically, but why? Why? Just because it's brighter in the morning? Well, then it's darker in the afternoon. I'd rather have it be darker on a Sunday morning and sleep in. This is just my opinion on Duck Insider, and I don't know how we got to this point. It's because I saw daylight savings time comes to an end on my calendar when I was looking at the schedule for the week. Matt Ulmer, Eric Roedl, thanks for the time. Tomorrow, hear from Coach Cristobal. See ya.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace.